talked about it yesterday, and my God.
Just get heating up, man.
Well, Dustin Johnson, you know, I mentioned yesterday the $125 million, and now this morning it's reported that Ricky Fowler, Bryson DeChambeau, Patrick Reed all look like guys that are going to be in the mix there in the future. And, you know, even when I was reading, the more I've read and listened about this, this whole PGA thing feels like, and they can put out all the Justin Thomas quotes they want, and Rory McIlroy and John Rahm and these guys that have dedicated themselves to the PGA Tour, they got a house of cards on their hands because the money's too big. Yeah. It's too big. Mm-hmm. Like, I saw, like, they came out with these goofy-ass teams and these clip art looking logos yesterday, you know, like the Sergio Garcia fireballs and all this, like it's like minor league teams or whatever. But then you see like DeChambeau, Patrick Reed, like you're starting to hear more names, Ricky Fowler, more names that you know. And I was listening to this podcast, and like word on the street is that Abraham Ancer might be very well doing it. John Kokrak might as well be doing it, and my guy HV3 might be doing it. It's just so few events, so much money. Yeah. Like, take into consideration,
3 rounds instead of 4 rounds too, right?
It's 3 rounds instead of 4 rounds. It's shotgun starts, so you could be home, especially if you got like a young family. Yeah, you could be home on the weekends or whatever, and just the money is so freaky. So I was looking at this last night, like take into consideration, and this is like, look. Golf collapsing, possibly. Like, this is, like, it's happening right now, right? And this has become real because Phil was just going to be like a lone wolf pariah who's past his prime, and who cares? And then it's like Ian Poulter, Kevin Na. Like, none of those guys have any fans anyway. Who cares? Right? Once Johnson did it, then he legitimized the whole damn thing. Yeah. Right? There's no amount of money they could pay him that probably wasn't going to pay for it. And
that's the same with the teams.
Look, now think about this. I went and looked this up. So they're playing like the RBC Canadian Open this weekend. That's the PGA thing, right? Yeah. They had oddly, in the day they announced this yesterday, they had a bunch of guys drop out of it. The RBC yesterday.
Like PGA Tour guys?
Yeah. Because I got an email from a fantasy thing that I'm in saying, hey, heads up, we have added all of these guys to the list. And including the kid that went to Ole Miss is in the list. Oh, Braden Thornberry.
Yeah.
He's in there.
Remember him?
And I'm like, he's playing in it?
Yeah.
Wow. So this is the London event. And keep in mind, this is the first one they're doing, okay? The overall purse for the London event is $25 million. $20 million being dispensed to individuals and an additional $5 million among the top 3 teams. The individual winner will receive $4 million. The winning team will split $3 million. A team championship at the end of the season will be a 4-day, 4-round match play bracket with a purse of $50 million. That RBC that I told you about, now you think about this. This is what? 48 players in this thing, okay? That RBC Canadian Open, which has got like a real feel. I mean, there's a lot of guys in that thing. Yeah. Rory's like the defending champ, and I mean, like, they got Scheffler, they got Justin Thomas, they got everybody playing in that thing. That purse is $8 million, bro. Woo! The total purse. The total purse.
And this in London is more than 3 times that.
3 times that. And it's less guys, right?
With no cut.
Yeah.
On teams. If you're just in the top 3 teams. Yeah. You're making, what did I say they're splitting? The top 3 teams.
Split what, $4 million?
$5 million.
$5 million, yeah.
You only got 4 guys on your team. You're each getting 1.25. if you're in the top 3.
Top 3.
Well, no. That'd be okay. So no, you're splitting it over 3 teams, but still,
yeah.
You're making what
you're guaranteed a 6-figure check at that point,
bro. Which you very well might get a check that is more than if you got 3rd place at the PGA event.
This is becoming like
3rd place.
WWE versus WCW. Remember that?
Yeah.
Except they got big names now, and now the floodgates have opened.
DJ was massive.
Now the floodgates have opened. He normalized it.
DJ's one,
which is exactly what they wanted and what they needed. And so now DeChambeau and see, here's the thing. Even with DeChambeau and DeChambeau and Reed, like I almost think like somebody like Ricky Fowler is in this weird. He's not any good anymore.
Yeah.
But it might be even bigger because he's got a million buddies.
He does.
Like those other guys are dorks. So there probably ain't anybody going. You know who else got a ton of buddies on tour is Garcia, Sergio.
Yeah. So like, what happens when
Sergio was like sharing a house with Rory last time they were here. You know, in Memphis, like he's got a bunch of buddies too. And so,
what happens after this first weekend when they play the first tournament? And you know, like you usually everything happens. Like you call your homeboys, like, "Yo,
I know."
So like, how the tournament go? Then like, "Yo, it was the best thing ever." No, like this is the best thing.
It's so laid back.
All the money.
Yeah, and knowing you don't know what's going to be going on, and now it's like, what about these broadcast innovations they'll pull out? What about the dress code? Maybe if they start wearing whatever, they don't have to have everything tucked in or whatever they do. You know what I mean? Like they can.
Can you ride the bull? Like Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Can you ride the bull?
Yeah.
This whole like making golf fun, and they've got live mics, and they've got fan
social
interaction, and they've got.
They could change it.
They could really shake things up.
Yeah.
But I hate it because it's just going to fracture everything.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be 2 separate entities.
That's crazy.
And I just think that when you're talking about if those guys do, like you say, you get the Abe Answers and you get the Cochracks and you get the HV3s and you get the, like, you are going to have a good amount of guys do it. And the big mistake was the whole, hey, you can't do both. But and the biggest mistake was not meeting with them. Can you imagine? Like this could, it is kind of like old school ABA where they get Dr. J and Moses Malone and these other kind of guys. That's a RBC. It's a RBC payouts, right?
Sheesh.
I mean, I got a top 10 finish. I made $230,000.
Bro.
And you look at that thing, there ain't even that many good dudes.
Nah.
And there's 48. You sit there and you go, geez, man, I could go win this thing.
Cash in real quick.
Like I could go make $10 million.
Every week.
You know how long it would take me to make $10 million on the PGA Tour? And who I got to beat to get there?
Just scrapping every week, bro.
I just, they didn't get him to the table. They should have just said, fold this money into here. We'll figure something out.
How much?
Now it's a competition.
Yeah.
How much you say that they offered DJ?
$125 million.
So I was looking up career earnings. Tigers, be throwing endorsements to the side. Tigers' career earnings on the PGA Tour. What do you think it is?
Career earnings?
No, I mean he's probably earned.
I'll say, DJ's is like 75, so I'll say Tigers is 125.
120.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So you made it Tigers' career earnings in one paycheck.
Yes. They just cut you a check.
Yeah.
Oh, that is.
And now you can earn even more on top of that, depending on what you do in the tournament this weekend.
Look, it's more money, and you don't have that many tournaments. These guys are out there grinding, going to tournaments every friggin' week. They're going to tournaments every week.
Yeah.
Look at the top 10. You make $560,000.
Bro, how about if you get 4th, you get $1 million?
You only got 48 guys to beat.
And you really got about 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of them aren't even that good.
Yeah.
I mean, once you get past about 10 or 12 of these guys, like, let's say I'm trying to think of one of the guys that was drafted like Lee Westwood.
Yeah.
Lee Westwood ain't winning nothing on the PGA Tour right now, right? Mm-hmm. Lee Westwood would be top 10 in this thing.
Every week.
Easy. He's raking. And they probably gave him a fortune to do it. And it's like the PGA, it was never challenged, you know? And now that this is the worst case scenario because you can't compete with somebody that doesn't care if they lose. Their goal is not to make money, so they're willing to overpay. They're willing to overpay. Yeah. They're willing to go out there and say, you know what? We don't care. We'll give you $125 million. We don't care. Like, don't matter to us. We're putting $5 billion into this thing.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a drop in the bucket.
We'll give you whatever. They offered Tiger 9 digits, bro.
High 9.
High 9 digits.
Which means it was over $500 million. High 9?
Bro.
You're over $500 million.
Your career earnings is $125 million on the tour. Of course you make money in endorsements, but bro, come on.
Dude, do you know what's his name's getting sued by his own name brand? Jack Nicklaus. Because Jack Nicklaus was in on it. He was like, yeah, I want to do it. They offered his ass, and he was like, going to do it. And they're like, well, now you've sullied the name of the Nicklaus brand. Like, it's my name. It's my name. Well, Andy's done some other crap, too. But, yeah. The world of crap. They try to get Jack Nicklaus. They try to get everybody involved in that thing. Like, what if they go to Jim Nantz and say, Jim Nantz will give you $2 billion?
Oh, Jim Nantz would do it. We know that. And we'll give you an oil painting.
That's the question. So you can't, they're not going to broadcast any of this stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, they don't have a broadcast partner yet, but again, in the world of streaming, they'll have a friggin' broadcast.
You don't have to, yeah.
They won't have CBS, but that's the problem for the PGA. Their stuff is based upon strength of field.
Yes.
What happens when their strength of field starts to get deteriorated?
Yeah.
Right? Now all that money that they've got from their broadcast partners, you know,
it's getting real.
Yeah, it's getting real. You're watching a sport get massively fractured.
Because I can tell you, like, in that
day by day.
In that stretch.
Oh, wait, this is only the beginning. They're saying this is only the beginning, and there's another one at Portland. There's a tournament that's going to be coming up in Portland, and that these guys will. There's going to be a bunch more
after this weekend.
That say I'll play in that.
I can tell you, this is just me as a golf fan. Like there's a stretch in golf with Tiger after he won that last U.S. Open on the torn ACL, and then he had everything else happen. There's a stretch there, dude. I did not really watch that many of the majors outside of like maybe the Masters every year because I like the Masters. I only recently got back into watching golf probably in the last 5-6 years, and it's because of the young talent that's in there. And I recognize, I'm like, yo, these young dudes, the Thomases, the Koepkas, the DJs, Morikawa. I'm like, yo, these guys are legit awesome. Like these guys are great. Spieth, Bro, if they're not good, if more of these guys go over to, I will watch less of those tournaments.
Dude, I will. This is really like the WCW, bro. This is really
the field matters.
This is like how it was. Like when Hogan went over to
it really is.
With WCW, everybody's like, you know what? I'm going to turn off WWF. Let me go watch what they got going on because it's a new thing.
Just see it.
Yes. See it. It's something fresh.
But see, that's what I was saying. It would be like if the WCW, like back in the day, if they would have just gotten like, I don't know, who would have been like if they'd have gotten like Junkyard Dog and that's it.
Instead, they got Hulk Hogan.
They got Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, they got Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And then they started to get everybody. Floodgates open.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's the problem here. And that was a thing, and it really damaged WWE for a long time.
So they switched up their plan. They switched up what they did.
The Rock and Stone Cold.
And now this is going to rock the PGA completely.
Dude. I'm intrigued now. Like,
DeChambeau's a big name, too.
Yeah.
I can't stand him, but he's a big name.
People know, I know Ricky Fowler's name.
Of course you do.
I don't know why, but I know his name.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
They call him BDR.
Well, Abe Answer just won last year's
tournament here.
Oh, he
won the FedEx St. Jude in the playoff.
And he had a chance at the PGA Championship. He was right there in contention going to the final day of the PGA Championship here recently.
Dude, I'm intrigued. Like usually I'm like golf stuff, but like, yo, this is like what if they did like the Ryder Cup?